All right, I'm going to show you how to use OnShape to create a wind turbine blade. When you open OnShape, you will create a new document, and that will um, bring up your designing area. So I'll call it Wind Turbine Blade 2020. Now, the first thing you'll want to do is check your units when designing in Onshape. You can click on these three buttons here, and that will allow you to change your units. You can go from centimeters to inches or foot or millimeters. I like to work in centimeters, and I recommend, using whatever units are most familiar with your students. So I will click OK. Now, we're going to design a very simple wind turbine blade. And the first thing we're going to do is sketch a shape of it. So I'm going to click on the sketch button here, and it wants to know what plane we're going to design that in. And I'm going to design that here in the top plane. So we'll kind of design it from looking down on it. And then now what we'll do is we are in the sketch mode, and so our tools have changed a little bit up here, you will notice. And what we'll do is we'll start with just a rectangle and design our wind blade out of something like that for a simple wind turbine blade. So I'm going to click on the rectangle, and I'll start down here at the origin and pull out kind of the rectangle shape that I like. Now, don't worry about the size because we'll resize it here in just a second. Now, right now it's a 16 centimeter by 4 centimeter, and I'm actually going to change that. I'm going to use the dimension tool here, and I'm going to click on that length of it, and we'll pull out. And I don't want it to be 16 centimeters. I'm actually going to make it 15 centimeters. And then I will also check this width here, and I don't want it to be too wide, so I'm going to turn that to 3 centimeters. And now you can see that the lines have gone from blue to black, and the black means that they are defined. Not such a big deal, but it's just kind of something that's good to know. Now that I've sketched my shape, I can go through and I can click OK. Now the next step is to take that two-dimensional shape, and what we're going to do is pull it up out of that surface. We're going to use that with a tool called Extrude. So we'll click on the Extrude button, and then we are going to click on that surface. And we want to extrude this at least a quarter of an inch, which is around 6.3 millimeters. So here I'm going to type in 0.63 millimeters, and that will give us, 0.63 centimeters, which gives us 6.3 millimeters. Now it'll show us how thick our shape will be. And then I can click OK. Now that we have our rectangle shape, I'm going to go through and design on this surface. So I'm going to sketch again, and this time in sketching the top plane, we'll actually select the plane of that surface. So I'll click on that. And then now I'm going to use some of these drawing tools and sketch the shape of our wind turbine blade. Some students might want to use lines, make sure those lines connect, and if they do that, they could get a very angular looking turbine blade. I'm going to use the spline tool, which will give me some sort of kind of a curvy turbine blade. So I'll click on spline tool. I'll start my first point here in the corner and just kind of add some curvy lines to it to see if we can get a little creative with it. And then now that I've got that done, I can actually hit escape, and that will finalize the line. Now, I like that line. If I wanted to, I could go through and move any of these dots if I wanted, modify that a little bit. But I'm pretty happy with what I like, or what I've drawn. So I will click OK. Now, instead of pulling up and extruding a surface, what we'll do now is we'll actually use that extrude tool again. This time we're going to use the remove function. So I will click on remove, and I will click on the part of the rectangle that we don't want. So I'll click like that. And then now I can actually go through and say we're going to remove through all. And then we click OK, and we get a nice looking wind turbine blade. And so from here, it's pretty good to go, but we got to figure out a way to attach that turbine blade to our hub. So what we'll do is we'll change the orientation of this so we can look here kind of on the back end of our turbine blade. And we're going to use that sketch tool again. Click on sketch, and this time we're going to click here on the end of our turbine blade. And what we'll do now is we'll actually grab our circle tool, and we'll place our circle tool. I'm zooming in using the scroll button, and we'll place that circle tool right here in the middle of this end. And if we do it correctly, we should be able to go from edge to edge. And then I'm going to click OK, and then we can use our extrude tool, and we're going to extrude it out. This time we're going to extrude it out 5 centimeters, and that should give our hub something to clamp down on. So I'm pretty happy with that. Over here, I can click on this little diamond-shaped box and click on isometric, and there's a view of our turbine blade. Now, what we will want to do is rename this turbine blade part. We'll right click on this and we'll say rename. I'll say simple blade. So we're done with that. Our next video that you can watch is how to prepare this for the 3D printer. Good luck, and don't be afraid to explore and try new tools out, and I wish you the best.